gonna have to go through hell. Worse than any nightmare that you ever dreamed. But in the end, I know you'll be the one standing. That's right. You know what you gotta do. Do it. Do it.
Welcome to the Bouts, fight fans. Today we're going to discuss some of the amazing fights we saw on the PBC and on the Zone. We're going to be talking about Abel Ramos versus Francisco Santana, Shawn Porter versus Yordenis Ugas, and Dmity Bivol versus Joe Smith. And we're also going to be talking about this amazing matchup between Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. Joining us today, I have Pablo P and the Magic Man. What's up, fellas?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
What's going on, guys?
Talk to me about these fights this weekend. What'd you guys think about Abel Ramos versus Francisco Santana?
I saw the fight. It was a very exciting fight. It was a good fight. They were going at it. It reminded me a little bit of Luis Castillo and Diego Corrales. Ramos looked a little bit sharper. He looked like the better technical fighter. My only concern with him and going into other fights in the future, because I think he's going to probably get more shots at bigger fights, is that getting those left hooks. He was catching too many left hooks and was getting hurt by them. And I think he has to work a little bit on his power because, he was landing a lot of shots from the other guy and the guy wasn't going away. I think it was later towards the round that he sort of wobbled him, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, Ramos, it was a very, very exciting fight.
I'll be honest with you, it was exciting in terms of two guys slugging it out. But in terms of them becoming elite fighters, their face, they both looked like they had ketchup smeared on their face. That's how many punches they all took. I know one thing.
Yeah.
When those guys, finished the fight, I know they couldn't go to sleep right away. Because they probably going to go into a concussion. They took a lot of blows. And I'll be real with you, if you really want to judge a boxer, to take all those blows like that and then to imagine that you're going to go to your next fight and do the same thing, and the next fight and do the same thing, that to me is not a making of a excellent boxer. I mean, it's great for the fans. We see a slugfest, but if you're gonna go over straight up head first into a truck every night that you go fight, I don't see your career going too far, and that goes for both of them, Ramos or Santana. I think it was Santana. So,
but I think would you agree that Ramos looked like the better skilled fighter?
He did, but there's still in order to become the elite, he needs to work on his defense. If you see the guy's face. He took a lot of blows to get his combination to get his combination through. He took a lot of blows, and it's unnecessary. And now that they have their youth, it's all good. But what's happened when it's 10 years from now?
Well, that is the reason why I mentioned that. Going forward, if Ramos wants to compete on an elite level, which I don't think he's there yet, and I'm pretty sure his handlers believe the same thing. They have to work on the defense. They have to work on his power in order for him to stand a chance against these better fighters. Because he can box. He has that, he has the skills, and he showed it that night. But, with the shots that he was able to land, if he had power, he would have been out of there. His opponent would have been out of there much sooner.
Well, he did knock the guy down, I think, in the second and third round with a
that was the Ramos that got knocked down.
Oh yes, that's correct.
They actually both got knocked down.
They both
went down.
That's correct. Well, it was a good fight for the fans. That's all I could say.
Yeah, I thought it was a big fan-friendly fight because they did stay in the pocket, but I gotta agree with Magic Man. I don't see a lot of longevity if you continue to stay in the pocket and get hit. I think that defeats the whole point.
Just for the purpose of discussion, where are they in their careers, especially Ramos? I'm more interested in Ramos because I like what I saw with Ramos. What's his record like?
His record is 24 wins, 3 losses, 2 by knockdown, 18 by knockouts. Okay, he's 27 years old, Abel Ramos. So there's still some hope. There's still some hope.
Okay, so he's up there. He's still up there. I mean, he's had quite a few fights already. At 27 years old, you know, these mistakes need to be corrected, or else he's not going to have a long career unless he's fighting them setups, them bum fights.
I'll say this about Ramos, or actually, I'll say this about Santana, and giving a lot of credit to Santana. He walked Ramos back. I mean, he basically broke down the jab defense on Ramos with a high guard and leaning on his forearms, making Ramos tired and unable to back him up. That was effective in closing the distance and then working the body. I mean, they both like to mix it up. They both did a whole lot of that. But Santana being the shorter fighter and you know, kind of forced to bring the fight on, that was effective. That was actually quite skillful, but whatever. You know, it is, at the end of the day, they both got caught a lot more than one would like to see. What'd you guys think about the main event? Shawn Porter versus Yordenis Ugas. Also welterweights.
Ugas was much bigger. He was there to fight. And once Porter saw that his style of just, you know, leaping in there with punches wasn't working, he switched his style up a little late in the rounds, probably around the 5th or 6th round. He started switching it up, actually started boxing and staying at a distance, and he turned the fight around. But I'll give it a draw, because I'll be real with you. I think from the first to the first 5 rounds, Ugas had him. Once again, he was just getting in there, lunging in there, and he just wasn't working out, so he had to change his game plan, which is a good thing. That means Porter can box. If he actually puts his mind to it, he can actually switch his style, which is pretty good. But I think it was a little bit too late, and I believed, in my eyes, it was a draw. That's what I thought of the fight.
Okay, I wouldn't have been mad at that.
Yeah, I think he stepped it up too late. For those later rounds, he was skilled as all hell. I saw a different Shawn Porter. It was like somebody else he's been working on some things in the gym for sure. And I was excited to see that.
I give it to Porter that he switched his style up, but I think it was a little bit too late. And I believe the judges saved him. One reason the judges saved him is, first, the belt still stays in the United States. It still stays here with Porter. And second is, we can get Ugas out the way and Porter can move on to something better. In my eyes, I think it was a draw.
If Ugas would have won, I believe the belt would have stayed anyway, because he ain't going back to Cuba. I wouldn't have been mad with a split decision win on behalf of Ugas. The reason why I say that is because Ugas looked like the one in control.
Of course.
Shawn Porter looked like the guy that was trying to figure out what he was going to do. I think he figured it out too late. And I think honestly, I wouldn't have been mad if Ugas would have won that fight. A draw would have been, I would have been like, okay, a draw. But to me, in my eyes, Ugas won that fight. Not by a lot.
There was a pinnacle moment in the fight. At the end of the 12th round, when the bell rang, I mean, you know, the round finished, and Porter looked at his father and closed his eyes and and like nod his head like, yeah, I know I messed up. I know I gave him this round. Like, oh, I know that the fight could probably go either way. Like, you could see the moment of doubt in Porter's eyes on that moment.
For the most part, I was just excited to see a different tools out of the tool belt. That's all. You know, I never seen Shawn Porter do that before.
It doesn't take too long it doesn't take too much to please you.
You saying I have low expectations? Yeah,
you wildin'. You did the Ramos and Santos.
Bugging.
Oh, they're slugging it out. It must be a good fight. No, these guys look like they had ketchup smeared in their face. They were both getting really hit badly.
You have to appreciate the effort, though. You have to appreciate the effort. And sometimes it comes out. Here's the thing: not every styles makes fights, and not every matchup is gonna let you finesse. Is not going to let you outbox them. Sometimes you're going to have to get sloppy. You're going to have to get dirty. You're going to have to be a puncher more than a boxer. And that's not always your choice. That's all. You got to remember, there's another person in the ring there with you.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Or you can wrestle like Andre Ward. Yeah, you got those options, you know? You can wrestle.
That's Pablo P, who likes all the holding and all that. You're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty much it. It wasn't the best fight for Porter, but he survived it, and we'd like to see, you know, some more. Maybe he'll switch his style up in the next fight and surprise all of us. Yeah.
All right, guys, moving on. What do you think about Bivol versus Joe Smith?
Wow. Yeah, great fight, man. Great fight. Demetrius definitely was in control, but I must admit this. He did show some vulnerability. He was exposed in several rounds. That lets me know that he, you know, that someone can definitely get at him. He looked like he was impenetrable for some time, but in this fight, I gotta give it up to his opponent. His opponent actually was there to fight, stood throughout the whole 12 rounds, and exposed a lot of things that Demetrius. That I didn't see Demetrius can actually possibly get hit, but he got hit. He got hit with a lot of right hands. Touchable. He is touchable. He is touchable on this one. So his opponent was a very good fighter, and you know, I congratulate Demetrius on that win. The only disappointing thing is that since no one's challenging Demetrius, he's actually contemplating stepping down, like going down in weight, so he can fight. He can have better opponents, better fights, because no one wants to step up in his division.
That's a damn shame.
And that is the light heavyweight division?
Yeah, light heavy, yeah.
Light heavy. So he's thinking of going down in order to get better fights. I guess when you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the bills. That's the way it goes.
He's going to do what he's got to do. I mean, he's a skilled fighter. There's no question about that. But, you know, got to see him in there with better opponents to see what he's really made of. He looks like he has the skills to compete.
Yeah, I would actually like to see what it would look like a Bivol versus Alvarez, and see what that might look like.
Which Alvarez? Canelo Alvarez? No. Alvarez, the one that fought Kovalev.
Yes,
but that would be an interesting fight.
That's what I'm talking about.
Fight. Yeah,
there's a little bit of action in that arena. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, speaking of Canelo, the more famous Alvarez, I hear that he's eyeing the light heavyweight division. But let's see. He has to get through a real tough opponent first. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe if he shoots up and if he puts enough steroid in the system, maybe he can make it to that division.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay.
Leave it like that. Leave it like that.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Because what he did with Triple G, with Keats Me, I know that guy was on something. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like that.
I'm excited to see more of Bivol, see how he develops, man. But Joe Smith, kudos to him. He was doing things like the triple jab, you know, those really small fundamentals. He was working really hard. Nobody, you know, not that nobody knows, but very few people appreciate how hard that is to do consistently throughout the fight. And he did it, and he executed beautifully. You know,
the rounds that he did not use his jab as much was the rounds that he lost. If he would continuously use that jab, I think he would have kept Demetrius at bay. He eventually slowed down with the jab, and that's when Demetrius would take advantage.
I mean, it was that triple jab that allowed the opening for the right, and that's when you started saying that he was vulnerable, right? That's when those vulnerabilities became exposed.
Yeah, for Demetrius, right.
Right. So we'll see what happens as they develop, man. But that was it. I would love to see either of them again, especially in the light heavy division, to see what's going on over there as that develops. All right, moving on. What do you guys think about Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence Jr. is coming up next week, and I'm stoked.
Oh, you mean David and Goliath? David and Goliath?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know if you want to go first. If you want to go first, Pete.
I don't think. I mean, I'll put 100 on Mikey, but I don't think he's gonna win, man. I think Spence this is not Mikey fighting a champion who's been champion for a long time, who's fought all these great fighters, who's on the tail end of his career. He is fighting someone who is just pretty much beginning, who's at the brink of stardom. And he wants it just as bad. And he is not going to let someone take that opportunity away from him. Because if Spence loses, obviously it sets his goals back quite a bit. Although he still has the star power to still get big fights, but it doesn't get him to that number one position that everyone thinks he already is. You know, I think Mikey Garcia loses this fight, man. I don't see him. I don't see him outworking him. I don't see him being able to stop him or hurt him. I just don't see it. If he wins, hey, this is going to be an historic night. It's going to be an historic night. It's going to be one that we talk about for ages on how he was able to beat him. But I just don't see it happening with Mikey Garcia and Spence.
Magic Man, what did you think of the face-to-face?
I'll be honest with you. I think that face-to-face, it actually made it more dangerous for Mikey. Because Mikey, at one point, they were both very cordial. They did the press conference. They had respect for each other. But then when they did that press conference, and they were still cordial, then they started going into, the tit for tat. I'm better than you in the footwork. I'm better than you in this. I'm better than you in that. And that only amped up Spence. Spence is saying to himself, okay, so you're not as tall as I am. You're not as strong as I am. And you're going to fight in my hometown. And now you're talking smack that you're better than me and you're better than me. Now I'm gonna put you through the ground, and that did not help Mikey's cause. And I'll be real with you, I'm for the underdog. I love the underdog story. So my heart is with Mikey, but my money's on Spence. Okay, I'll be real with you. If I had to put a bet down, it'll be Spence. You're fighting in his hometown. Second of all, Spence hasn't had a good fight in a long time, so he's hungry. And though Mikey comes from a long family history of boxers, I think he's chewing too much here. He's going too much. He's biting more than he can chew.
He's doing the Oscar De La Hoya versus Hopkins. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's doing that. He's doing the Amir Khan versus Canelo, which didn't work out. He's doing the Kell Brooks versus Triple G that didn't work out. The only fight that I saw that worked out in someone's favor when they moved up, and it was a long time ago. We're looking where Roy Jones fought Ruiz when he became a heavyweight, which was a boring fight. Ruiz couldn't fight worth a damn anyway. And that was the only fight that I seen that a boxer moves up in division and beats. Other than that, man, it's very rare, very rare. And I wish Mikey the best. I mean, one more thing. I saw Mikey train. I see him put an air mask on so he can make the air thinner, the oxygen thinner, so he can build his endurance. I see him moving around a lot. What I see in Mikey's preparation is I'm preparing to build endurance so I can but dodge all the punches that Spence is gonna throw at me.
Yeah, I think that's an important part of the strategy is to not get hit, because every hit will be significantly more impactful coming from Errol Spence, and that's my take on it too. I don't think that it will go past 6 if there's consistent contact.
I think I want to just point out to a couple of things Mikey Garcia has said in the past. He said that people haven't seen the best of Mikey Garcia. They haven't seen the best. I mean, like, okay, you've had 30-something odd fights or 40.
I've seen the
best.
We
still haven't seen the best.
I've seen the best.
I think what he's doing, Mikey Garcia is doing, is preparing his body to be able to take the punishment that it's gonna receive.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you.
He's gonna fight the same fight that he's always fought. Obviously, they've been studying tape and stuff like that, so there are things that they're going to try to apply. And if they don't work out, it's back to the drawing board and hoping that he's able to catch him with something. But the key words that we've heard from Mikey is timing, footwork, things of that nature.
Right.
I don't think he has the power. I don't think he has the speed. And there was one thing that Spence said that was telling. He said, and I quote, I believe, you don't get hit. What he's saying that is like, I've seen your fights, man. You get touched.
Well, I remember the exchange you're talking about. I remember the exchange, and during the interview,
yeah,
they're face to face.
So he's basically telling him, I've seen your fights, and you get hit, but you haven't gotten hit by somebody like me.
Right, that he's touchable. He's basically saying you're touchable, and if you get hit by me, I'm gonna clean your clock.
Well, let's be real. If anyone gets into a fight and you have 40 minutes of fighting, you are gonna get hit eventually. You can dodge as many punches as you, but eventually 1 or 2 or 3 are gonna land in there. You better brace yourself and take them. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, Mikey's basing the victory on points. And I believe that the hometown of Spence is not held bound on points. They want to see a knockdown, a knockout.
Man down.
Man down.
But
down.
That's their quote. That's their quote on Spence's side.
Yeah, I don't think those judges are going to be judging it on points like that. You know. So.
I mean, they're gonna do their job, but the fans want to see. We've had quite a few fights where there hasn't been a spectacular knockout. But it's fine, we're boxing fans, so we're going to see a good boxing match. This is going to be something that you watch and you'd be like, okay, how is he going to do it?
I think
we already know that Spence can do it. We already know how he can win. Volume punching, his power shots to the body, and then he's southpaw, he's fast, he has power. He has all those tools that we know that he's going to use to win. Mikey Garcia, again, remember, and this is very important, he's moving up 2 weight classes to fight somebody in a weight division that he's never fought in. Yeah, you sparring bigger guys. Yeah, so what? Yeah, when it's time, when the lights are on, no 10-ounce, 12-ounce gloves, and when it's time, you're going to feel something different.
I think,
and it is going to be interesting to see if Mikey Garcia can weather the storm when the storm comes.
That he shouldn't have done that press conference. That press conference with I think it was Keller. Was it Keller? Kellerman? That press conference. It wasn't. It was someone else. Well,
on PBC.
Yeah, but that press conference really hurt Mikey because at one point, Mikey would have just stayed quiet and humble. And okay, I'm gonna fight a good fight. But the minute he started saying, I'm better than you at this, I'm better than you at that, I'm better, I just saw Spence like, oh, you're
light
better.
Up.
Okay, I'll see. We're gonna see that night how better you are.
I'm gonna light you up.
He's gonna light you up now. And in my hometown, I'll be damned if in my hometown with a man a quarter of my size is gonna beat me. It's not gonna happen.
Listen, Spence already, when he goes into the ring, his plan is to get you. It doesn't matter if it's Mikey Garcia, if they're talking crap. He'll do the same to anybody who gets in the ring with him. I don't think he spares any mercy on anyone that steps in the ring with him. Mikey's gonna get the same. So again.
Yeah, but why add more fuel to the fire? That's what I'm saying. And I'll be honest with you, the only man that gave Spence a competition and probably would have beat him if it wasn't for the eye injury that was Kell Brooks. And Kell Brooks is no joke. The only thing that hurt Kell Brooks was that his eye socket was injured when he fought the Triple G fight, and it reemerged in the 10th round when he fought Spence. But other than that, he was beating Spence, and that's the only man that I saw that had enough skills to give Spence any competition. And I'm sorry to say, but Mikey's not He's not Kell Brooks. He's not. So
you know what? That's a really interesting point, guys. You know who beat Errol Spence Jr. in the amateurs? El Boxy.
I remember, they told me El Boxy beat him. But that was in the amateurs.
And that tells me, that aside, I got to take a step back and remember his fighting style, right? Remember that how El Boxy fights. And it was very aggressive. It's very, come forward, stay in the pocket, bang out to the body. Mikey Garcia isn't going to do that, and if he does,
it's suicide.
I hope with all that exercise and resistance and oxygen thinning machines that he has, I hope he does a Mayweather. I hope he can dodge all those punches and still get his points, because that's what I saw him prepare. I saw him preparing for endurance. That's what I saw.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But you also have to take into account that he's literally, if you're doing this naturally, he's literally carrying around a heavier body. You know, he's hauling around more weight.
He gained 14 pounds of muscle. Mikey has gained 14 pounds of muscle, which his body is new to his body. His body has never adjusted, had that type of weight. So it's new. Well, something Spence is carries around on a regular basis. So there's a big difference,
Yeah, that's Spence's weight on a Sunday morning when he's running errands for his mom.
I wanted around. Who do you have then, Harlem? And please, Harlem, just give me an answer. Don't give me and this and then I'm 50%.
I'm not the one who has to go. I'm not the one who consults the astrology over here.
I just want your choice of winner without any ado. 50-50. I need to know who you got.
Spence.
You got Spence. PD Pablo, who you got?
Spence.
Okay, guys.
Folks,
and
I got who you got.
I got Spence.
Know.
I got Spence in round 6 to 7.
Okay. Yeah, about the same.
Okay, and I wish Mikey the best of luck. And if he proves me wrong, even better.
Oh yeah, that would be an amazing. I'd be so happy to see that. Like that'd be hell of a show.
Yeah, if he wins, that's an exciting night of boxing. That's an historic night of boxing.
Oh yeah, it will be historic, and my heart goes with him. But facts are facts, and if I had to put that money down in Vegas, it'll definitely be Spence 3 times over. Okay.
Nah, I'll put $100 on Mikey just in case. You never know.
Only $100?
You put 100 on Mikey and 1,000 on Spence, huh? You're 100 on Mikey and 1,000 on Spence. So you're never gonna lose.
Hedge the bet. Yeah, hedge the bet. You guys are gambling. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm really ready to see. I'm very excited to see this fight this weekend. Okay. That's all I gotta say.
I'm stoked too. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good show. Let us know what you think. We are excited about these fights, and we welcome your feedback. Please follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, FightBouts. We are here, and we want to hear from you.